Hello everybody and welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we are going to be doing Rate the Monster Hunter games. Now this is one I've been thinking about doing for a while, and I figured, why not do it now? So how I'm going to do this, you might notice there's like a lot of stuff on here. We're just going to be covering the main series, so no spin-offs, but we are of course going to be including the portable games in that. Just like with my previous ranking videos, I'm going to be doing a tier list, but I'm also going to be giving each game a score of 1 to 10, 1 being horrible, 10 being incredible. And as you can see here, there's a few that I have not played. I have not played Monster Hunter Freedom, Monster Hunter Dose, or Monster Hunter Portable Third. I have heard great things about Portable Third. Freedom and Dose, not as much. But yeah, so let's start with the original Monster Hunter. I'm also not going to include Wilds in this, just because Wilds is not, base game Wilds is not done yet, right? Like, we don't have all the updates, so it just feels kind of unfair to compare it. But all right, okay, so I just realized that there was no D tier, so I fixed that. But starting with the original Monster Hunter, I have played this game, not all the way through, mind you, but I have played it a bit. I actually have the original copy on PS2, and look, this game, guys, respect on it because it started this incredible series, but oh boy, this game is rough. This game is really rough, guys. Like, I don't know how much you guys know. First of all, the roster of monsters is pretty bad, pretty bare bones. The maps are also pretty bare bones. Everything, it's like the most stripped down version of Monster Hunter, which, for the first in the series, like, as it should be, right? It makes sense. But man, like, the biggest thing, you have to flick the stick, the right stick, to attack. Like, you flick the stick in different directions to attack with your weapons, and using the cameras with the D-pad, it's just like, it's a horrible control scheme, really janky. Basically every single quality of life thing that you can think of that's in the newer games, even a game like Try, is just not even in the game. Like, it's pretty bad. I like to say that the original Monster Hunter crawled so that Freedom Unite could walk, so that 4 Ultimate could run, so that World could take it into a full sprint. That's kind of the way I like to look at this. But all right, yeah, original Monster Hunter, I got to give it some respect, so I'm gonna put it in C, but I'm gonna give it like a 3, dude. I'm gonna give it like a 3. Oh man. Okay, moving on. Freedom 2. So I've only experienced a little bit of Freedom 2's content via Freedom Unite. But Tigrex is the flagship. More weapons were introduced. This is like the second generation of Monster Hunter. So you got like the hunting horn being introduced, and I forget what other weapons were introduced this generation, but Freedom 2, I don't really have much to say about it. I'll say, like, give it a B, or actually no, I'll give it like a higher C. I think Freedom Unite is the one I gotta give like a B, because I mean, Nargacuga, it's like the most, this game, even though I've only played a bit of it, I haven't even gotten to G rank in this game. It feels pretty good. Like, it's definitely antiquated, but the controls are figured out. They're much closer to current Monster Hunter. There's more weapons than first generation. Things just control better. It's just a great step, and it's really like the first, like, to me at least, like, if they were to remaster Monster Hunter games, or like port old Monster Hunter games, which I really want them to do, this is one that they should definitely port. Like, this is the first one I think that they should port. They should port Freedom Unite, 3 Ultimate, 4 Ultimate, and Generations Ultimate. That's how I feel about porting the old Monster Hunter games. But yeah, Freedom 2 I'd give like a 5, and then Freedom Unite I would give like a 7. I think that's fair to give it a 7. Okay, Monster Hunter Try. So kind of a similar situation here, except 3 Ultimate I have played all the way through. But that is actually the only way that I've experienced Try. Now, from what I understand, Try is pretty bare bones. Like, there were a lot of new things introduced. Like, of course, you had the Leviathans, you had swimming, but the base roster of Try is a bit rough. And then 3 Ultimate added in monsters from Portable Third to kind of fill in the low and high rank like Arzuros and some other monsters like that. But cool subspecies were introduced. The swimming is hit or miss for some people, but I like the swimming. I think it's good. I've made multiple videos on why they should bring it back, and then after Legiacris being brought back in Wilds with Title Update 2, I really think they should bring full underwater combat back. I made a video about that recently. But yeah, base try. So that's like what, the beginning of the game through Sideus or Goldbeard Sideus? Pretty good. I actually don't know if I would say that it's better than Freedom Unite. At least base try on its own. Probably not. I'm gonna say that it's like a 6 on its own, and then 3 Ultimate I think is a 7. I think we're getting into the A territory now. 3 Ultimate is very, very good, and you got Brachydios as the flagship. Way more monsters than base try. They got rid of the medium bowgun and brought back the weapons that they cut from try and promised to not cut weapon classes in the future. And yeah, just 3 Ultimate is definitely the way to go if you're gonna experience try. So I think, yes, try is a solid 3 Ultimate, sorry, is a solid 7. Monster Hunter 4. Now again, I have played all the way through 4 Ultimate, which obviously includes all the content of base 4, but we never actually got base 4 on its own here in the West. But knowing what's in it, right? So that's like beginning of the game all the way through Shigaru Magala. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good low high rank. I can't really complain. I mean, 4 Ultimate really takes it to the next level, but like 4 Ultimate is truly one of the GOATs. But I think for 4, we're gonna put it in. We're gonna give it like an 8 in A tier, but it's not. 4 Ultimate is where it really, really takes off. But I mean, 4 was just such a huge game for the series. I mean, you had the Charge Blade and Insect Glaive introduced. You had a focus on vertical terrain and climbing. This is the game that mounting was introduced. Like all of these things that have become key parts of Monster Hunter ever since can be traced back to 4. And I mean, aerial attacks, which of course lead into mounting. Like all these things. 4 was incredible. It has a fantastic monster roster. It introduced like 3 new classifications of monsters in the same game, which I forgot to mention. Try introduced not only Leviathans, Try also introduced Brute Wyverns, which is like one of the most iconic classes of monsters. And then Leviathans are just my personal favorite class of monsters. But 4 Ultimate introduced a lot. You had the large Temno... No, wait. Yeah, you had Temno Sarens, the large Neoterrans... Well, no. Large Neoterrans was actually Queen Vespoid in, I want to say, Freedom 2. But, the first cool large Neoterran with Celtis and Celtis Queen. And then you had the Snake Wyvern with Najarala and the Elder Dragon version of a Snake Wyvern in Dalamadur. The unknown classification. That's right. So it's actually like 4 classifications with Gormagala. Just such an incredible game. I love the idea that you're constantly traveling around to new areas, new towns, and there's always like a map connected to the town. Kind of like what Wilds does. And I really, really like that aspect that both of those games share. All right, 4 Ultimate is going to be our first S tier. I would say 4 Ultimate is like a... Ooh, this is tough. It's either a 9 or a 10. It's truly one of the GOATs of the series. I had so much fun playing this game. Every time I play this game, I get sucked into it. I really, really want a port of this game with servers, because the only way you can actually play this game online now is via fan servers, because the 3DS and Wii U servers are completely down. I mean, obviously, this game was only on the 3DS, but yeah, just like truly the ultimate version of Monster Hunter 4. Seregios is the flagship. We got all the G rank content, which added like a bunch of subspecies, a bunch of new monsters. Truthfully, because I played 4 Ultimate, I'm not sure, like, I think guild quests were part of base 4, someone in the comments correct me, but they really expanded upon that here in 4 Ultimate. We had Gugmazios as an incredible final boss monster. So many great mechanics and systems. Investigation, or like sort of an early version of investigations in this game that they would later kind of attempt again in Monster Hunter World. Arguably one of the best Monster Hunter games ever made. And it's one that I always love to go back to, and one that I really hope we get a port of with online play. Just a port, not even like a remake, a remaster. It doesn't need that. Just port the game and give it some online servers, and I'll be happy. Port it to like all the current systems. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have to give it a. I think I gotta give it a 10, dude. I can't help myself. It's a 10 out of 10. It is too damn good. Okay, moving on. Monster Hunter Generations. So once again, I never played base Generations. The only way I've experienced that is via Generations Ultimate. So base Generations is, let's see, it'd be the base game all the way through Nikarkos in high rank. It's pretty solid. I mean, you have the 4 flagships, lots of monsters, the style system, the hunter arts system, just incredible stuff. But I really want to talk more about that with Generations Ultimate, because that's the way that I experienced this. So I would say base Generations is probably like a like an 8. I'll give base Generations like an 8. I think that's fair. And then GU is where I really want to talk about this, because again, like I only experienced base Generations through GU. And I mean, my God, GU and 4U to me are like the 2 ultimate Monster Hunter games, truly. I don't know which one I like better. And you know, we're going to talk about the more current ones, and those are going to be really tough to put on this tier list and to rank, because my God, just they really were on a hot streak with these last several Monster Hunter games. Like I would say all the way from 3 Ultimate to Wilds, they have been on a massive hot streak with Monster Hunter games. But oh man, or maybe actually no, maybe even like Freedom Unite all the way to Wilds. But yeah, GU, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. This game is absolutely phenomenal. It was the second Monster Hunter game that I ever played. Well, okay, technically the third, but it was like the second one that I really got into. And I remember, like, I played Base World as like the first game that really got me into the series. I had tried 4 Ultimate when I was a bit younger, and I just couldn't get into it at the time. And I was trying to play it on a base 3DS, which was really difficult. So when World came out, I really got into it. And then, you know, I played through Base World, loved that. And then I heard about this other game, Generations Ultimate, coming to the Switch. But apparently, you know, it's an older game, like came out a few years prior, but it just hadn't been ported to, hadn't been localized for Western audiences yet. And so it finally was getting that port like that summer after World came out. And I remember playing this game with a friend, like after school every day, or well, okay, we started playing in the summer, I think. And then, or I started playing it in the summer. And then my friend got it in the fall of that school year. It was like our junior or senior year of high school. Oh my God, it was such a good time. Like every day after school, we'd come home, we'd just boot this game up for hours. We would go through like just everything that this game had to offer, pretty much. There's still stuff in this game I haven't done. This game is truly like Monster Hunter All-Stars, right? It has almost every single monster in the series up to that point. There's a few big ones that are missing that really frustrate me, like Dalamadur and Gugmazios especially, and like even like Daren Moran and Gen Moran. And I don't even particularly like those fights, but still wish they were there. But I understand, you know, hardware limitations, because Generations was a 3DS game originally. And even though Generations Ultimate was on the Switch, it's like it was still kind of built for 3DS in a way. So, you know, a bit unfortunate. Obviously, like none of the, like no Sadeas, because like no underwater combat. Lagiacrus was in the game, but you couldn't go underwater. A lot of subspecies and variants missing, but they also had the deviants. There's just so much content in this game, and so many different ways to play this game with the style system and the hunter arts. Absolutely phenomenal. Like, it's just Oh my god, Prowler mode too was a great feature. I personally didn't play as a Prowler a ton because I just prefer the Hunter experience, but still, I mean, giving players the option to play as a Palico if they want, like that's such a great idea. And yeah, I just have nothing but good things to say about this game, really, aside from like some monsters missing that I wish were there, even if it would bloat the content a little more than it already is, because there's just so much in this game, as I've said. But truly, like, one of the goats of the series, right up there with 4 Ultimate. If, you know, I don't know which one I like better. I really don't. They both have their pros and cons for me. But I put those two together as the best of the best in Monster Hunter. And now you might be thinking, well, okay, what about World, Iceborne, Rise, Sunbreak? We'll get to those. In fact, let's actually start with Monster Hunter World. So Monster Hunter World was the first, is really special to me, right? It's the first game that really got me into the series. However, when I played Generations Ultimate, after I played Base World and I saw like all these cool monsters that weren't in World and like all these different types of monsters that, like, you know, because Base World had a pretty weak roster, which is understandable considering that, you know, they brand new models, brand new rigs, everything, right? So I get it. Like it took them a lot of time to sort of build up like a repertoire of the monsters that they could put in the game. But Base World was just, I mean, an incredible first foray into Monster Hunter for me. It was really like no other game I had played at the time. I also was a total, like, when I started this game, it took me a while to understand a lot of things. Like, I remember fighting Nergigante for the first time, like when you really have to fight him and it's not just like a stage encounter where you hit him a few times and he runs away. I remember like the actual fight with him. It took me so long to beat him because I, at the time, did not understand how the skill system worked. So I was completely relying on base attack and defense. And it took me so long to beat Nergigante because of that. Like, so many tries, so many attempts, but when I finally beat him, it was incredible. And like, even though I look back on that now and I'm like, man, if I had just played the game right and actually paid attention to what skills I was getting and everything, I would have had so much of an easier time. Like, every time, like when I replayed the game, because I replayed it all the way through one time, I had so much of an easier time beating Nergigante. It was like my first try or something. But I'm kind of glad that I had that experience. You know, it was a real like get good moment. It was a real Dark Souls, Ornstein and Smo kind of wall for me, where I really had to overcome this big threat before I got better at the game and kind of understood more. And you know, I think it's pretty fitting that was the flagship. So World, I think I got to give it an S. But even though I think it has a weaker roster and everything, I think I'm just gonna say it's like an 8. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. Base World, the updates were great. The collabs and the events were great. The first like fan weapon design contest was such a cool idea. I mean, we got the Wyvern Ignition. Just great times with Monster Hunter World. But Iceborne to me is where Monster Hunter World really got to shine. Iceborne, I think, is like a solid 9 out of 10. I've been actually playing some of that recently with some friends, just kind of revisiting that as we wait for more stuff with Wilds to happen. And yeah, I mean, what can I say about Iceborne? Like, especially after all the updates, you know, still has a bit of that issue where there's not a ton of monster classifications represented, but it helped when they added like Nargacuga, Tigrex, Barioth. Even though it's not a new classification per se, it's like still, they're very different feeling from the regular flying wyverns, you know, the pseudo wyverns as we call them. And then, you know, we had Rajang eventually, which I think Rajang's the only fanged beast in the entire game. Maybe Behemoth counts as one? No, I don't know. Someone correct me on that if you know. But yeah, great updates. layered weapons for the first time was interesting, and layered armor for the well, GU had layered armor, but it was like a bit different with how it worked. It was more of like a proper transmog system. But yeah, Iceborne, I mean, you have like what is, in my opinion, the greatest fight in the entirety of Monster Hunter with the Fatalis fight as the final update. Like, it was a perfect way to cap off such a legendary game. Capcom's best-selling game of all time, still to this day, as far as I know. I don't think Wilds has sold more than World quite yet. But yeah, I just have nothing but great things to say about Iceborne. So I think I would give it like a 9. I just don't think it reaches the same highs as Generations Ultimate and 4 Ultimate, especially where the roster of monsters is concerned, but quality of life and just as a whole, right? I think it's just still up there with the greats. And Clutch Claw sucks, though. Aside from being able to like slam monsters into walls, that's pretty cool. Okay, Monster Hunter Rise. So I really, really like. Now, like, this is one where I actually, just like Monster Hunter World, I experienced the base game first, and then I've experienced the game with its expansion. Base Rise is pretty interesting because I think, which, by the way, I think, Base Generations and Base 4, are they really better than 3? Yeah, okay, I guess so. Base Rise is a tricky one for me because I really like the game. I think it was a cool, more experimental title. Obviously, the game's development was heavily impacted by the pandemic, and so the title updates were really like there were like 2 big title updates. I think that's all they did. And as far as I know, I think it was all stuff that was supposed to be in the base game at launch, which is a bit disappointing. But yeah, Base Rise was pretty solid. I think I'd give it like a 7 out of 10. The Wirebug moves were really cool. I like how they remastered some maps. The Palamutes were a great addition. Kamara is great. Actually, you know what? No, I can't give this game a 7. I gotta give it an 8. But is it better than Base Generations? I don't think so. I don't even know if it's better than Base 4, but yeah, I'll give it an 8. I'll put it like there. I think that's fair. It just, it was really good, but Sunbreak is really where Rise shines. All right, moving on to our last one, because we are not going to be placing Wilds onto this just because the updates are not done yet for the game. I might revisit this list when Base Wilds is done, or maybe I'll just wait until Wilds has its expansion fully complete. Like, that's a while out, but I mean, I'm very curious to see how Wilds and its expansion are going to stack up with all the updates and everything when it's all said and done. But Sunbreak for me is another goated title. I love Sunbreak. I think it addressed pretty much all of the issues I had with Base Rise. No more rampages, because it was a cool idea on paper, but in execution, just no. Rampages are not. Sunbreak just, we got like more monster variety, more fan favorite monsters. The first time Gore Magala came back since Generations Ultimate. Geismagorm is one of the coolest final boss monsters in Monster Hunter history, in my opinion. The sort of improvements to the Wirebug system, being able to swap your switch skills on the fly is I don't hate it. I think it's a cool idea, but I have heard people say that it kind of takes away from like the decision making with picking your switch skills for your builds, which I do agree with. I think like Base Rise, only being able to bring 3 switch skills for your weapon with you, and not be able to switch those on the fly, kind of it made you think more about your choices. But in Sunbreak, you can kind of just equip them all with the swap scrolls. So I don't know. It's kind of a double-edged sword. But all the updates this game got were great. And Espinas, the Jungle remaster. I had a blast with Sunbreak. I really did. And I think I like it more than Iceborne overall, if I'm being honest. I mean, the monster variety and the monster roster as a whole blows Iceborne's out of the water. I think the endgame system with the some of the endgame stuff is not as good as Iceborne. I will say that, and obviously Iceborne has Fatalis and Alatreon, but Alatreon and Iceborne is kind of annoying in my opinion. But like Fatalis, the best fight, has the guiding lands. With Sunbreak, they kind of tried to bring back the guild quest system with the whole curious quest anomaly investigations, and I think overall they did a pretty good job. But then the armor augmenting is kind of annoying with the randomization or just the RNG elements of it. I think the weapon augments is fine, but overall Sunbreak is some premium Monster Hunter. And you know, Primordial Malzeno is like the final update that the game got, while not as grand as something like Fatalis, you know, as like a bonus update. I actually only like several months ago did I fight Primordial Malzeno for the first time, and like I actually finished the fight, and my god, that fight is another one of the greats in the series. Like regular Malzeno was already great when Sunbreak came out, and then Primordial Malzeno just cranked it up to 11 in all the best ways possible. But yeah, Sunbreak, I think I'm gonna have to give a solid. If Iceborne's like a 9, I think Sunbreak is also like a 9. But I like it more than Iceborne overall. But all right, so this is going to be my Monster Hunter game tier list as of July 2025. Again, like not including Wilds in this, just because, you know, we've only had 2 title updates. I want to wait until all the title updates for Wilds are done before I can really think about how I would stack it up against these other games. And, you know, especially like I want to wait for the expansion for Wilds as well. Like if I do another list like this, I want to wait until at least Wilds' expansion is like completely done, which that's like a ways out, but there's plenty of other Monster Hunter videos and other videos that I can do in the meantime. But yeah, this is my current Monster Hunter game tier list and rankings. What do you think about my list? How wrong do you think I am about this? Which Monster Hunter game is your favorite and why? Let me know in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next Monster Hunter video. Happy hunting.